Hello and welcome to my video. Today I want to show you how to create this cute looking unicorn badge with your own name inside the Silhouette Studio. And we will be starting with my sticker sheet from my Etsy shop, which you can get on the cuteandglued.etsy.com. And not only you can get this as a physical sticker sheet, but you can also get this as the digital download file in the form of the Silhouette Studio project. So you can open this in your Silhouette Studio and print this and cut it on your own, if that's what you want. Or you can use it as a base for your own creations. And the first things first, I'm using the free version of the Silhouette Studio, which is called the Silhouette Studio Basic Edition, and you don't have to pay anything for this. As you will see today, it's more than capable of allowing us to do something like this. Okay, so let's take a look and get started. So I will start with my digital download file for the sticker sheet, which looks like this, and I will select everything and move it to side, because we will not be needed everything. We will just need one of those badges. So let's select this pink one and move it back over the page, like so. And we need to have some space to put the text on. So what I will do is I will zoom in a little bit, and I will probably make this a little bit bigger. And I will do it in a way that I will draw a new circle. So open the circle tool or ellipse tool and draw this ellipse with the shift key being pressed on your keyboard, and make it just a little bit bigger than the image. I will move it like so. I will set the no outline like this, and I want to set the same fill color as the image. So what I can do is I can open this fill drop down menu and use this eyedropper tool to pick this pink color like so. Now as you can see, the circle is over the image, so I can right click and select send to back, so it's below the image, and now we have some space to put this text on. So I will open the text tool, and before I actually start writing, because if I would be starting right now, you can see it's hard to see anything. But one trick which you can use is to, before doing anything, you can set the fill color already, as well as the outline color already. So when you start typing or drawing anything, it will already have those properties set. So I will write in Julia, because of course that's the name of my daughter, and I want to change a font, because the Arial will probably not make it. So I will select the text box, and this time I will use a font called Blogger Sense. And you can definitely use any font, but if we want to put this around the circle, it usually works better if those letters are not connected. So the script font may not work as nice for the around it or putting the text around the circle. I will make it bold, and now I want to put this around the circle like here, but a little bit square circled. So I will draw a new circle, again ellipse tool, draw this with the shift key being pressed, and actually set the outline to some color, maybe black, and fill to no color, like so. And the trick to put the text over the circle is to double click the text until you will see this editing arrow, editing cursor, but you will also see this small handle on the left side, which you can click and drag around everything, and it will simply snap to the shape. So I can put it on the outer circle, but this is not what I want. I want to put it in the inner circle. And as you can see, based on the cursor position, it snaps to inner or outer side, and we of course want this to be on the outer side, like so. And those letters are a little bit too far away, so what I can do is I can open the font properties or text properties and just decrease the character spacing a little bit to maybe like 90 or so, and maybe the font size is still too big, so I will decrease this font size as well to maybe 55 or maybe 50. Okay, at any point I can grab this handle and move this to a different position. So I would like to make it centered like so. I can click outside and I can still move this around together with the circle like so. Now to not make it that bold, I'll probably select the text again and set the fill to white color instead. So set the fill to white. And for the circle instead, we don't want any of the outline to be seen. Now the thing is, if I select the circle, and if you take a closer look, you will see that it's set to 0 points. That basically means that even when we can see it right now, it will not be printed. So it's more just for us to set this to no outline, because it wouldn't look this way as we print this image. So there would be nothing for the circle, but we can still see it because it's being set to some color, but since it's 0 points, it will not be printed. So let's just make sure it's set to no outline, so we don't even see it. Maybe I have to select this one more time and set this to no outline. Okay, so now we cannot even see the circle. Okay, so we are halfway through the design and there is not much left. One thing which we can change is this empty space around here, which of course feels kind of empty, and we can try to fill this with those small little shapes. So for this one we of course need those small little shapes. So what I will do is I will select this unicorn image and duplicate it, pressing this duplicate button in the toolbar, and move it to the side. I will zoom in a little bit more, and I will try to separate this image based on those shapes. So for this I will use a knife tool, so select the knife tool in your toolbar, and we want to make sure that it's not being set to straight, because it will just cut straight lines like so. We don't want straight lines, we want closed shapes. So for this we will either set this to poly, curve, or freehand. I mean, actually all of those works perfectly fine, but I usually like to use polygon, which will be used to draw polygons around the images which you want to separate. So let's set this to poly, and I will start clicking and drawing those shapes around the individual ones, and you will immediately see that it's being cut just like the way we want it. And I probably don't need all of those, but since this is a pretty straightforward and fast process, I will probably use most of those small symbols. Oh, you can see this was kind of wrong, but it still gets us, you know, what we want. Actually it gets us also the second shape, which we will not be using. Sometimes it just snaps to the first point much faster than you want it to be, you know, that you don't finish the whole shape. So you have to make sure that you are clicking nice and even, like so. Okay, so all those shapes, or at least most of those shapes, are separated, so we can move the original image to the side and maybe even delete it. We don't need this shape and we don't need this shape. I can zoom out a little bit, like so, and I can just start moving those individual shapes over the empty spots. I can even move it close to the text itself. It will probably look nice, like so. And I will continue on the left side as well. Okay. And the last one. And now there is not much of the empty space. It looks nice and even and nicely filled. Okay, so we are almost done, but there are a few things which we have to take care about. The first thing is, by default the sticker sheet has some kind of background color, but there is actually a trick being used. If I open the page setup, the trick lies in the way that I'm using the grid with very small spacing. If I would increase the spacing, you will see those lines, but as I'm decreasing the spacing to a point where there is almost no space in between the lines, it looks like a page background. Now the great thing about this one is this color will never be printed. It's just for our reference, so we can see white shapes, and sometimes it's easier to work with if there is a background being set. But this is what will be printed. There will be white page and our colored image. Now we can print this without any problem, but we also need to cut it. And if we would use this outer circle for cutting, it may happen that the cut will not be aligned properly, and it could be just a fraction of an inch. It could be very, very small offset, but that will cause that the background color of the page, actually the white color, will be visible around the edges. So the way how you prevent this is to make sure that the color goes outside of the cut shape, or in other words, that the cut line is actually a little bit smaller than our badge. So for this we of course need one more circle. So let's select an ellipse tool and draw one more circle which will be just a little bit smaller, like so. And if we want, of course we have to set the fill to no fill, and we can set any outline color, maybe this violet one. If we want, we can actually draw it in a way that even the unicorn will go all the way to the edge of the badge, because this will be the cut line, like so. I can move it like this, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So that's probably all we need for printing and cutting. So if I zoom out, the last thing which you usually need are those registration marks, but for my digital download file they are already set. But maybe if you start with the blank document, you don't have those there, so you have to jump to the page setup pane, and in the registration marks tab you have to set the style to be style 1, type 1, which is true for most of the newer machines. And what I usually do is I usually lower the inset as well as the length to make sure that there is more space for the content in the paper, because those areas which are cross-hatched, you cannot put anything in there. So if the inset is quite big or the length is quite big, you will see you have a very small or very little space for your content and for your stickers. So usually I try to go with the smallest possible values for the length and the inset. So once the registration marks are set, you can jump to the send pane. And by default for new documents, the action is set by simple, which is this button on top, which just allows you to set which objects you want to cut and which not. And you can see everything is set to be cut, which is probably not what we want. We only want to cut this inner path. So what I will do is I will select everything and just click no cut, because I don't want to cut everything. Then I will zoom it a little bit and only select this purple circle, like so, and set this to be cut. Of course, I need to set the right settings. Those are already preset for me this time. This is a sticker paper white with a tool being auto blade, and usually a depth around 2 and force around 15 or 16 is fine for me, but that of course depends on your sticker paper and your, the edge of your knife. As for the speed, if you have time, it's usually better to go with a lower speed, so 8 is fine in this case. And that's it. The next step would be to go to the file print and print this image on your printer, then put this on your mat and feed it back into your color machine, and in this send pane simply hit send button, and it will first read the registration marks to see where the paper is, and then it will just cut this circle. And again, as you can see, even if the circle is a little bit offset, let's say the circle moves to the top, it's not that aligned properly, it will still look perfectly fine, because we have a little bit of space around the text and we have a lot of color around the cut line. So even if it's a little bit off, it will still work and look perfectly fine. And so that's it. That's how you create your own unicorn badge with your own text, this time based on my sticker sheet from my Etsy shop, cuteandglued.etsy.com. But of course you can use any image and start with an image if you want. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to put those in your comments, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.